Hello students, welcome back to our chemistry class. In last chapter, we come to know that many compounds which are important to us. In this chapter, we shall study about some more interesting compounds and their properties. Also, we shall be learning about carbon, an element which is of immense significance to us in both its elemental form and in the combined form. First of all, let us study about bonding. Children, do you know the importance of bonding? Yes. Bonding means some sort of a relationship. Okay? That is, in our previous class, we have studied that if you take sodium chloride, how this sodium chloride is formed. How sodium chloride is formed? In case of sodium, sodium has an atomic number. Atomic number of sodium is 11. And atomic number of chlorine is 70. That is, sodium has an electronic configuration of 281. And chlorine has an electronic configuration of 287. Children, now look at these two electronic configurations. Here, to achieve octet means what is octet? Octet means 8 electrons in the outermost shell. Okay, so if sodium wants to become 8 electrons in its outermost electron, sodium has to either lose its 1 electron and chlorine has to gain 1 electron. Okay, so during the process of formation of NaCl, what happens? Sodium will lose its 1 electron to chlorine. So it will get afterwards 2,8 in the formation of Na positive and 288 in the formation of Cl negative. Then this Na positive will combine with the Cl negative and formation of NaCl will take place, we can say. This is what we have learned about ionic bond. Okay children, what is ionic bond? Okay, now children, let us consider about the case of carbon. In case of carbon, carbon has an atomic number of, what is atomic number of carbon? Carbon is 6. So when you write its electronic configuration, the electronic configuration of carbon is 2 and 4. So what is the meaning of 2 and 4? In order to complete octet, carbon need either 4 electron to be lost or 4 electron to be gained. So in order to gain or in order to lose 4 electron, see when the atomic number of carbon is 6, you should know that in a carbon atom has protons 6, electrons 6, and there must be neutrons also 6. Now we don't have to do anything with the neutrons because neutrons are chargeless. Now if carbon gains 4 more electrons, why it has to gain 4 more electrons? If it is gaining 4 more electrons, it will become C4 negative. Correct? And if it is losing all the 4 electrons from it, then carbon will become C4 negative, 4 positive. By losing, it becomes a cation of C4 positive and an anion of C4 negative. Correct? But children, it is quite difficult for 6 protons by accepting 4 electrons more. Total it will come 10 electrons. Right? Now 6 protons to carry this 10 electrons around it, it's a quite difficult task. So the possibility of having a 10 electrons, that means accepting the 4 electrons is quite difficult. Now losing 4 electrons and become C4 positive is also not possible. Why? Because a lot of energy is required to lose these 4 electrons from it, and it becomes a configuration of 2 electrons. So in those cases, to overcome all these problems, what carbon does is, in case of carbon having 4 electrons around it, it is actually becoming, or it becomes ready to share their electrons with the other atoms. And the atoms like hydrogen having 1 electron atom, when it comes to it, then what carbon will do is, carbon will ask hydrogen to bring 4 hydrogen atoms. So these 4 hydrogen atoms having 1 electrons around it, they will share their electrons in between. So here hydrogen will complete its 2 electrons by sharing it, and carbon will complete its 4 electrons extra, or we can say they have actually completed the octet, we can say. Okay, so that way carbon attains octet configuration. Here actually there is no loss or no gain of electron takes place. Here only sharing of electrons takes place. Sharing of electrons. So this property we can say that covalent bonding. What type of bonding it is? Covalent bonding. What is covalent bonding? In covalent bonding, sharing of electrons takes place. Not only carbon, there are other elements also do the property of sharing of electrons, but mostly carbon does in an abundant way. Because of that, so many n number of carbon compounds are available. Because of that only, we have got a particular branch of science which deals with carbon and its compounds, that we study in the name of organic chemistry. So organic chemistry is the branch of chemistry which deals with the carbon and its compounds. So this is the only a particular element which has got this much immense importance in the chemistry, because this forms enormous number of compounds, or this produces enormous number of compounds. Okay children, because of that only a particular branch of chemistry is being separately we study about it as organic chemistry. So organic chemistry means carbon and its compounds study. Okay, the study of carbon or hydrocarbons we can say, because mostly carbon combines with hydrogen and they form hydrocarbons. Not only carbon, apart from carbon, there are some other elements also shows this sharing of electrons and forms covalent bonding. We shall discuss some of them. Mostly we know some elements like hydrogen's formation, oxygen formation, nitrogen formation, and all. When we look at these formations are also by sharing of electrons only. Let us study one by one. First of all, let us see how hydrogen is formed. In case of hydrogen atom, hydrogen is having only 1 electron. Hydrogen's atomic number of hydrogen is 1. So 1 electron only hydrogen has. So either hydrogen has to lose the electron or hydrogen has to gain the electron. So when hydrogen molecule is formed, in that case, hydrogen atom or one hydrogen atom combines with another hydrogen atom by sharing the electrons in between. So now this atom gains 2 electrons, or we can say this is actually these electrons are shared in between these atoms. Okay, these atoms are shared for the formation of H2 molecule. When atom is alone, then we call it an atom only. When they are combined, we call it as molecule. Okay, this you have studied in a 9th standard also. Correct, children? Now let us study about oxygen atom. Children, you know what is the atomic number of oxygen? What is the atomic number of oxygen? Oxygen's atomic number is 8. Right? Okay, the atomic number of oxygen is 8. So, how many electrons are there? Electronic configuration when you write 2, 6 means in the outermost orbit there are 6 electrons are present. Okay, so I have shown in the form of Lewis dot structures. This way of representation is called Lewis dot structure. Lewis dot representations. Dot structure representation. Okay. Now another atom of oxygen, if you take, this also having 6 electrons around it. Correct. Now what happens here? Oxygen has 6 electrons around it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now oxygen requires 2 more electrons. So what happens? This oxygen will share the electrons in between them. They will overlap in between them. They form a covalent bond between these 2 oxygen atoms. There, in the first case, here a single bond is formed, whereas here 2 electrons are shared in between, so they form double bond. So children, what is double bond? When 2 electrons are shared in between 2 atoms, there is a formation of double bond. Okay, so by this way O2 molecule is formed. This is another example of formation of a covalent compound. Or sorry, not a covalent compound. This is also another example of formation of covalent bond. Okay. Next we shall also discuss about nitrogen atom. Okay. Children, you know the atomic number of nitrogen is 7. Right? Now 7 means 2, 5. Correct? In which 5 electrons are there around the nitrogen atom in the outermost shell. So let us write nitrogen this way. See here, this either you can show by dots or you can represent by cross. There is no problem. Okay. Now this another nitrogen having 5 electrons around it. Now to attain 8 electrons or to complete octet, nitrogen has to share 3 electrons around it. Understood? So they form a triple bond. What is produced? A triple covalent bond is formed. Okay, children? So because of that, we can have a N2 molecule. So in case of nitrogen molecule, there is a triple bond, and in case of oxygen molecule, there is a double bond because 2 electrons are shared in between 2 atoms. And in case of hydrogen molecule, there are actually only 1 electron is shared in between. Correct? So formation of a single covalent bond. So covalent bonds are of 3 types: single bond, double bond, and triple bond. Clear? So children, in this module we have discussed about importance of bonding. Correct? First of all, we have discussed ionic bond, where losing or gaining of electron takes place. But in case of carbon and its compounds, not only carbon, there are other elements also shows covalent bonding, where we have seen sharing of electrons takes place. In the next module, we shall also discuss about the versatile nature of carbon. Okay children, thank you.